What's up, everyone? Back for another Whodunit Beer review, and the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Steven. So huge thanks to Steven for this beer. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that he hooked me up with. He hooked me up with a lot of beer, 3 of which were Whodunit beers, and this is the second of the 3 that I am reviewing. And if you're unfamiliar with what Whodunit beer reviews are, they are essentially blind/mystery beer reviews where somebody will wrap up and conceal a beer, like Steven did with this one. They will then either send or give me said beer, and I'll review it like I do any other beer on my channel, with the lone exception being, of course, I have no idea what the beer is, so at the end of the review, I try to guess the beer style, its ABV, and if I'm feeling confident enough, I'll try to guess the exact beer, although that is extremely difficult to do, so it's very rare, almost never happens. And then I will finally rate the beer before revealing it to both you and myself. So what do we know about this beer right here? Well, it looks like it's in a 16 fluid ounce can. And I know that the beer is at least 2 months old because Steven sent the aforementioned beer mail towards the end of April of this year, and I am reviewing this one middle to late June. I think today's like June 22nd, 23rd, something like that. So we're gonna say this is at least 2 months old. Could be older than that. And then on top of that, this was sent to me by Steven, who resides in Connecticut. That doesn't really mean much because Steven drinks a whole bunch of different beer, but I always like to note that because a lot of times these mystery beers and the beers he sends to all beer tubers are basically from Connecticut and the New England region in general. And I also want to say one other thing about this beer. When I did the beer mail unboxing, I did notice there was a silhouette when I was unboxing it with the lights. You could kind of see it a little bit. However, I couldn't make out the silhouette at all. Have no idea what this beer is, but I thought I'd mention it because I'm always honest with you guys. I did see some sort of label underneath this white paper. It could even be another layer of paper that Steven is fooling me with, but regardless, it didn't ruin anything because I had no idea what it was. I saw it for like a second or two, and I actually mentioned it in the beer mail unboxing, but I just want to be forthcoming with you guys and let you know I did see it for a second. Outside of that, have no idea what this one is. So I am going to crack this one open and get into the glass and see what we got going on here. I also want to mention that the first one from Steven, I hashtag nailed it. A lot of you guys agreed with me. It's probably the best I've ever done on a Whodunit beer without nailing it. Like, I came as close as you could possibly come to nailing that beer. So if you didn't check it out, I posted it about a week ago. So please go check that out if you like the Whodunit beer review. So anyway, we're going to pour it in a glass. I always get the big one here so we can fit it all into the glass with a 16 fluid ounce can. So, okay. So right off the get-go, this is looking light. Really doesn't mean anything because the way this beer looks, ooh, there was a lot of sludge at the bottom. Gross. Okay, well, based on that, I'm going to say this might have a little bit of age on it. Now, if there is a date on the bottom of this can, I haven't looked, so we'll look at the end. But I would say based on that sludge pouring out, you may have not seen it on camera. Oh yeah, there's like chunks of shit. All right, this might be a little bit older. So first things first, this has like a burnt orange color. Right off the rip, this could be a bunch of different things. I'm not even gonna guess based off the look, but it has like this burnt orange color, deeper orange color. Had about a finger of this off-white, almost lightly tan-colored head that is now displayed to a thin film. Again, a bunch of chunks. This is not filtered for sure, and there's like, it looks almost like orange, like orange seeds or like coffee grinds or something in here. It looks kind of weird. It's probably just the sediment from the yeast and the proteins, but yeah, I mean, it has really no clarity. You can maybe make out my shadow of my hand maybe a bit, but outside of that, yeah, I'll tell you what, off the look of this, I have no idea what this is. Is this like an aged, like American barley wine or something? I have no idea. Anyways, good knows. No, it is not. What the fuck? Wow. Why is there hair on my thing? Okay, so I'll tell you right now. There's, how many styles just popped into my mind? Like 3. 3 styles just popped into my head. Number 1, some kind of coffee cream ale, coffee blonde ale, maybe like, and I don't know if I've ever had this, but like a mocha cream ale or mocha blonde ale, because the nose is like straight up like chocolate. It smells like straight up chocolate, like a sweet dark chocolate. And there's also a very like, I'd say more of like a mild to moderate coffee roast. But that chocolate is so big, there might be like an accentuation of like vanilla in here. Now, those were the first two styles right off the rip. The other style, kind of looking at this and kind of smelling it and everything, I don't know if many breweries brew this style anymore. On my channel, I probably reviewed maybe a handful at the most over 6 years and 2,100 reviews. It could be the ever elusive white stout, but I don't know. So right off the rip, some kind of coffee cream ale, coffee vanilla cream ale, mocha cream ale, replace cream ale with blonde ale, that'd be the second thing, or a white stout. If this is aged, the coffee is nice for something that might be aged. If it's not aged, then it's probably just right where it should be. The reason why I say I don't know if this one is aged is because the chocolate character is fucking bonkers strong. Like, it is punching me in my nostrils. Now, the only reason I think I would start leaning towards white stout is because of the chocolate character. And when you're talking about cream ales and blonde ales, you don't see, again, a lot of mocha. It's usually like a coffee cream ale or a coffee vanilla cream ale or a vanilla coffee cream ale. Usually chocolate doesn't get thrown in the equation, at least from my experience. However, that's under the assumption that one of those three styles is what I'm smelling right now. But yeah, it's strong, sweet, dark chocolate. It's a mild to moderate coffee roast with a accentuation, again, of like, there is like a vanilla. Now, it could be lactose in here. I don't know. I also want to mention that I did bring my tablet down here for the review, because I feel with these mystery beers, a lot of times on labels, they won't say anything. Or I won't even remember if like I reviewed the beer. So the first one I reviewed a week ago that you saw, I thought I didn't review the beer. I thought I was like, oh, I just drank it. Turns out I did review the beer in 2021. So it was a beer that I hadn't reviewed before, and I had no idea, because I'm like, oh, I think I just drank that off camera. So I brought down the tablet just to be safe. Yeah, so there's not much more in the nose. I will say too, if this was a cream ale or a blonde ale, I think I would be getting some kind of like grainy, biscuity, maybe even a bready kind of note from the malt. Nothing. It's just chocolate, coffee, and vanilla. Yeah, I'm going to get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Steven. I also want to mention, with all of my Whodunit Beer reviews, right out of the darker beer fridge at 54 degrees Fahrenheit, even though this has, a condensation because it is warmer out, this was right on my dark beer fridge, so hopefully it's in a prime drinking temperature. Anyway, cheers, everybody. Off that first sip, I'm now leaning towards white stout. Why? The body on this one's nice. And I think this has a little bit more oomph ABV-wise. And again, I have had maybe a handful of like coffee cream ales that I can say were like over like 6.5%, 7%. This isn't super big, but off of that first sip, has a mouthfeel that I wouldn't associate with a blonde ale or a cream ale, but we'll see. Dive a little bit further into it. So body is a touch over medium body. Doesn't quite get into like a low full, but a touch over medium. More often than not, like a body like this would be where I'm drinking like a, skirting the lines of like a double IPA, so 7.5, 8, 8.5%. And that's where I think after a couple sips, this one lands for me. I think it's kind of in that like 7.5 to 8 range. The mouthfeel has a smooth, creamy sensation. A little bit softer. This is like mild to moderately carbonated, so it has a little bit of a softer feel to it again. Very stout-esque with the body and the mouthfeel, despite looking at the beer. Again, I'm saying right off the rip here, the first couple sips, the body and mouthfeel, if this is a cream ale or a blonde ale, then I would say to me that it is substantially bigger than I think it is, because I'm trying to think of like an imperial cream ale, the carton. They do their, was it coffee, regular coffee or whatever it is. It's an imperial coffee cream ale, 12%. This kind of has like a body that isn't quite that high, but again, would be more of an imperial version. Let me just tell you, the taste is exactly, this is not a complex beer. Waves from front to back of chocolate, a mild to moderate coffee roast. I'd say like approaching a medium roasted coffee. And then like on the sides of the palate, the sides of the tongue, there's this vanilla that kind of is around to some degree. There might be like an underlying like orange peel or something like that. It's almost like a chocolate covered, like a Terry's chocolate orange bar. Now I'm trying to think, could this be like an orange chocolate, like, could this be like an orange chocolate like cream ale or blonde ale? Definitely not. There's enough coffee for me to say this is some kind of like coffee cream ale, coffee blonde ale, if not a white stout. Again, I'm leaning towards white stout. Body, mouthfeel indicate something stout-esque, or just, again, bigger, not even stout-esque, just bigger than a blonde ale and a coffee ale. The problem I'm having with trying to lock in a white stout is, again, you don't see a lot of breweries put out white stouts nowadays. You just don't see it as much. Probably 5 or 6 years ago, they were mid to like late 2010s. White stouts were a huge thing. That's where like a lot of the adjuncted coffee, or adjuncted cream ales and adjuncted blonde ales came to fruition too, was basically like the mid to late 2010s. Like Ballast Point's was it the Calm Before the Storm? I don't know what to think. Then you take into consideration a 16 fluid ounce can. All right, so I'll say this. Body, nice, higher side of medium body. Mouthfeel, soft, smooth, creamy, not uber soft, again, mild to moderately carbonated. It has nice smooth creaminess. Wouldn't be surprised if there's lactose in here. And then on the palate, front to back, sweet dark chocolate, almost into like a Hershey's special dark, kind of in that realm, like that sweetness. Borderline like medium or moderate coffee roast. And then again, vanilla on the sides of the tongue. I think there might be lactose in here just because that vanilla is reminding me of something with lactose, and then you take in consideration the body and the mouthfeel being a bit bigger, there might be lactose in here. Now, when I'm thinking about white stouts, what is, as far as the style goes, is there any like specific like ingredients that need to be in a white stout? Does it have to be chocolate and coffee? Because you're trying to mimic the roasty kind of tones you get when it comes to a stout. So the coffee and like usually like a cocoa nib, cacao nib, something like that's usually used. Vanilla, as far as I know, not really, but I'm definitely getting a big dose of it, which is why I maybe think it's lactose. One more sip and then I'm going to lock in a rating, and I'll put in a firm 100% guess here. All right. I'm going to lock in a white stout. I'm going to go with white stout. It's probably going to bite me in the ass because this is a cop out. I'm going to say white stout, but I would not be surprised if the base is a cream ale or a blonde ale, and with, adjuncts that I'm going to talk about momentarily. So I'm going to go white stout, definite chocolate. I don't know if they're going to say cocoa nibs or cacao nibs or just chocolate, or if they even say anything on the fucking label nowadays. That's why I brought down the tablet. I'm going to say coffee, maybe vanilla, but if they don't say vanilla specifically, then lactose, so one or the other. But I'll just say vanilla. I won't say lactose, just to be consistent with what I've been saying this entire review. I'm leaning towards 7.5% just to kind of be in that realm of, if it's like 6.5, 7, I'm not that far away. Because if I go like 8, 8.5, and it all of a sudden is like 6, I'll feel bummed out. I don't think this is over 8. Wouldn't be surprised if it's like 8.5, but I don't think so. The body mouthfeel, there's a little bit of like an alcohol stringency on the palate, which is weird because there's nothing in the chest. Other thing I forgot to mention, it is very sweet. There is a very mild bitterness, very mild dryness. I think this has some age on it based on the look of the this can't be. I would say at least 6 months on this, if not more. It's not gonna come off on camera, but there's just a bunch of sediment at the bottom. I did not store this upside down. This was right side up because it's a mystery beer, or Whodunit, so I don't really know what it is. But all right, so white stout, chocolate of some kind, coffee of some kind, vanilla. 7.5%, and I will say, I don't know if there's lactose. I'm gonna say no, but wouldn't be surprised if there is. If it's a blonde ale or a coffee, cream ale or something like, or I should say a blonde ale or a cream ale with coffee and or chocolate or vanilla, I wouldn't be surprised. But the reason I'm not going with cream ale or blonde ale is because I don't think there would be chocolate in it. Now, if it's not one of those 3 styles, then fuck my life. So anyway, we're gonna crack it open, and we're also gonna look, well, since I've locked it in, I'm not gonna change anything. Let me see if there's a date on the bottom. There is. 1/16/23. Wow. So this is what, 17, just over 17 months old? Okay, that makes sense. Now I'm kind of worried. This could be completely something that I am not thinking it is despite tasting. You know what I mean? Like it could be something completely different. All right, so that was very easy. What do we got? Well, All right, so it's Fat Orange Cat. I think this is like the second or third Fat Orange Cat Steven has sent me with the mystery beers, which is pretty cool. So what do we got? So I believe the name of the beer is All Cats Are Gray in the Dark. This is a 7.2%. So I was off by 0.3%. I'm fine with that. White stout with natural flavors. The fuck does natural flavors mean? I have absolutely no idea. And here is the label. This label art, like Fat Orange Cat, has a lot of cool names and the label art. All Cats Are Gray in the Dark is wild. It's wild. So I must have, when I saw the silhouette, I must have seen like the silhouette of, I guess, the cat. But I probably just saw like the face of it and have no, I know nothing about this beer. Honestly, when it comes to Fat Orange Cat, I don't really know if they have any, like, is this like a staple? Is this like a limited thing? Obviously, this is 17 months old or over 17 months old, so I have no idea. But that is a pretty cool label. And yeah, I think I fucking nailed it for the most part. What are the natural flavors? Brewed and canned by Fat Orange Cat Brew Company, North Haven, Connecticut, 12%. Fuck me. I guess I have to bust into the tablet. We'll throw this over there. And let me get into my tablet here. So I got Untapped ready to go, so I don't have to sit here. So we'll type in Fat Orange Cat, right? So I typed in Fat Orange and All Cats Are Gray in the Dark, third one listed. Hopefully they give some information. White stout, a light colored stout with a hint of coffee. Okay. And strong notes of both chocolate and vanilla. 7.2%, like it says on the label, 50 IBUs. Let's see what friends have had it. This is cool, that's why I like doing this. A lot of people. White stout. Last friend had it was back in June of 2023. Let's see if I can see something from Steven. Okay. Steven had this in 2020 and gave it a 2.5. He had it in 2019 and gave it a 3. I did not rate the beer, did I? Fuck my life. You know, that's why I'm terrible at this. Rating-wise, I enjoy it. It's not mind-blowing, but I think for what they're going for, did they nail it? I don't think this beer has enough roasty, toasty tones with the chocolate and coffee to me really loving it, but I like it way more than Steven said. It's definitely sweet. So I'll say this. I would give this like a high 3.75. I'd go like 3.8, 3.85. If it was a little bit more balanced, mostly with the bitterness and maybe had some roasty, toasty tones, I would give this like a straight 4. It's pretty good. It's weird that there's a slight, now as I just took a sip there, a little bit of alcohol stringency, but no warming in the chest. So that's very odd to me that this is only 7.2. I said 7.5 because now after that sip, like the alcohol is like a little bit more prevalent. There was not many legs, so I wasn't thinking it was that big either. So, I don't know. What do you think I did with this one? I think I fucking nailed another one. Now, the fact that I nailed last week and I almost nailed this week makes me think that next week's beer, I'm going to fucking duff. If not, this might be the best run I've ever had, 2 in a row, that I've nailed. Yeah, I can't. I mean, I was 0.3% off on the ABV. I nailed the style and natural flavors, whatever that means. Again, they say... what did it say? Slight hints of coffee. I would agree with them. Like the coffee's there, but it's again a little bit dialed back. I would have loved to see what this one tasted like, relatively fresh, being 17 months old. That's another thing I didn't even mention right now after I revealed this. This beer right here is fucking 17 months old, but that chocolate note is like, it's fresh. However, there isn't a lot of coffee. What they're saying though is slight coffee, and they say strong chocolate and vanilla. The vanilla is not that strong. They didn't mention lactose, so I'm glad I didn't lock in lactose, but there might be some lactose in here. As you can see, I drank up a lot of this beer. So yeah, I'd give it like a 3. I'll lock in 3.85 out of 5. Fuck me. I'm so excited. Like, I have goosebumps. You can't see, but I have goosebumps right now because I've said this before in a couple other reviews. When you nail a beer or do really well, at least me, I get really excited. Like, I can't believe I did so well. So last week's beer plus this week's beer, me pretty much nailing it. I would give myself an A in here. Again, I can't go A+. I know a lot of you said last week that I did an A+, and I get that. Same thing here. I pretty much can't, I don't think I can do much better. If I call, I'm not going to probably guess 7.2% in this situation, and I'm not going to say it's a white stout with natural flavors. That's just not what I'm going to say. For something like this, I try to tell you all the characteristics I'm tasting. The reason, though, I went white stout is because of that chocolate note. I don't think that would have been in a cream ale or a blonde ale with adjuncts. I don't see a lot of chocolate, like cream ales or chocolate blonde ales. You see mostly coffee and vanilla ones. So I'm super happy with how I did. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I think there was a Fat Orange Cat beer that he sent to me like last year that I did for a Whodunit, and I completely missed on it. It was like, I think it was like a dry hopped wheat ale, and I called it like a white wine barrel. What the fuck was the name of that beer? Like a white wine barrel aged like Belgian strong or something. It's like one of the worst Whodunits in the history of Whodunits. And I think this beer, I have more than made up for it. So anyway, all cats are gray in the dark, 3.85 out of 5. And I will say that I'll give myself an A. Some of you might say A+, some of you might say A-. I don't know. I think I deserve in the A range regardless. So if you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it. Price point, availability, I have no idea. So Steven or anybody else, if you see this one, let me know what you paid for it. The one guy, when I was scrolling down on Untappd, Brad, who I'm a friend with, he actually picked this up at Premier Gourmet. It looked like last year sometime in like the summer. I think his check-in, what I just saw, was in the summer, and he did say purchase that at Premier Gourmet. So we probably get this beer here, although, you know, I don't buy a lot of Fat Orange Cat. Usually Steven is the one that sends Fat Orange Cat my way. I'm really excited about it. I do apologize for all the long Whodunit beer reviews. I know Rainier Parade, you're like, you know, don't worry, take your time. That's what I try to do with these. I want to be able to give you the best guess that I can based on what I'm tasting, and sometimes it's my mind sitting there, you know, the gears are turning, I'm trying to figure things out, and when I nail it, I'm glad I took the time to do something like this, because it's I'm real happy about it. So anyway, huge thanks to Steven for this one. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another Whodunit beer review. Check back next Wednesday. I have one left from him, and I'm curious to see what that one is. It's in a bottle, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So appreciate it. To the next one. Cheers.